Binduji, we could do some context setting.
Okay.
So, because the path sort of led to this recognition is the path of yoga.
Mm.
I thought I'll take some glimpses, a few glimpses of Raja Yoga,
Mm.
and then we can get to the, that lead us to the Samadhi portion.
Right.
These are not in the domain of, not essentially Ashtanga Yoga.
Mm.
Because when I started digging through this, the environment existed during Shankara's period.
Mm-hmm.
What was Raja Yoga was a parallel along with the Gnana Yoga, the path of Upanishads.
Okay.
So they were like running like a river with both sides of the bank. One bank is yoga, other bank is Gnana.
That's right.
And surprisingly, that environment continued till 1950. Because the yogis, here we have Jangama yogis. The Jangama yogis were very popular in Karnataka, many places. Every other village had them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having, there are various, Upanishads I never heard of. They were using them to set the path context before practice.
Okay.
And it came out there is something called, the two yogis I got access to was one in 1850s and the one in 1940 odd. We had a great Kannada writer by name DVG.
Right.
Even in his verses, he uses Raja Yoga as a stepping stone into, Gnana.
Yeah. Even Vivekananda has written 2 volumes of Raja Yoga.
Raja Yoga. So in 18, that is, this is like a naturally available. You don't need to go out and look for Raja Yoga because it was always a part of the practices.
Right.
So this led to, me try to get to all the way till Samadhi Pada. Thought I'll take few verses as a context setting. Then we jump into that comparison between Aparokshanubhuti and Anubhuti.
Okay.
Because this has really, this is my journey. Maybe that's the way I see it.
No problem.
Because Anubhava to Anubhuti is something that I thought I'll set context with few of the verses that existed in this period.
Okay.
Maybe references to that. I think you need to help me with decoding some of this because I'm not I'm not fully versed in well versed in Sanskrit. So we
Okay.
can
No
get
problem.
started. Whenever you're ready, we'll get started.
Okay. Let Prasad do the introduction, then we can start that. Prakash, not Prasad. Namaste, Prakash.
Namaste, Bindoji. Pranam. Namaste, Venkatji.
Pranam.
Today is a special room we have on a follow-up discussion for Aparokshanubhuti. So welcome everyone to the satsang, Advaita Veda satsang home. The replays for all the Aparokshanubhuti classes are available. I've pasted the YouTube link in the chat. You can also access them in Clubhouse for replays. So with this, I think the Aparokshanubhuti sessions will end, and on Sunday we will have inaugural session for Bhagavad Gita with a special talk. And with that, over to you, Venkatji, for the questions.
Sure. Yeah, I was trying to discuss with Bindoji on setting some context up to this discussion. I thought I'll take few verses in the path of Raja Yoga, the environment that existed. This is one from 1850s. I got an access to one yogi who documented the path. Here, the first study, Bindoji, is about, you need to know the body composition as a basis to build on it. It uses something called Vishnu Yamanam. Okay, the text that, it starts with a Sankhyam Deha Vicharanam Cha Brahma. To know Brahman, first know the composition of the body. That, they use some a Upanishad called Sharirik Upanishad, where the body is using, method of Sankhya. They take the body as composition of, 5 Gnanendriya, the 5, senses, Karmendriya, the action parts, and Tanmatras, the 5 Tanmatras, the Pancha Bhutas, then Prana, 5 Pranas, then Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, 24, and so the 24th one is, this 24 ones, in that there is a Deha, the Prana is, Jivatma is taken as 25, and 26 is Paramatma. And the whole idea is to merge the Jivatma with Paramatma as a basis to start the journey. That's how the stage is set, Binduji. So this is the primary structure. Then
Okay.
it continued to, yeah.
Carry on.
Is that okay, Binduji? This is the...
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay. Now, as you move in, it uses the Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. It uses something like, different, how the prana, it sets a stage. Shruti prana nistito nityam. There are 5 pranas, mano mapano guda mandale, samano nabi deshetu, udana kanta madhyagaha, vyana sarva sharirotu, pradana panchavayu. That means each prana is located in different parts of the body, that is stationed. And we use yoga for each position. Basically, the yoga is done to sort of build a cohesive body where you can establish certain control over the 5 pranas. Hence, if you control prana, you control mind. That's complementary. Basically, they are the 2 branches of the same tree. You control one, other will come under control. So this is the foundation for controlling the mind. As you control the mind, then it launches further into, describing the mind. So, manaso henmani bhavo dvaitam nai upalabhyate yadaya janmani bhava stada tatparam padam. This is Paingala Upanishad. They use something called Paingala Upanishad. And the mind
Which
is...
you can find in the Karika also. And the
Okay.
Gaudapada Karika also says the same verse. It is there in the Gaudapada Karika also.
Okay. So the mind is always like that, it is in that the duality is the nature of the mind. And as you shift to Atma Bhava, then there is a way out of this mind process. That was the launch point. Then it goes into the, this is exactly the Brahma Karavritti, Atma Karavritti that was you covered earlier in, Aparokshanubhuti. Once you put the stage, then there is a verse from Adhyatmik Upanishad. I'll say, Sushaptau Sukamatrayam Vedam Kenavalokitaha Chittamulo Vikalpoyam Chitta Bhavena Kaschana. as the mind resolves into Sushupti, the deep sleep state, then when you get up, the same habitual mind goes into, multiplicity. So this is the nature of the Sushupti. Then it brings a question: why we need to get into this path of Adhyatma, where anyway you're getting the deep sleep, where your mind is anyway resolving. Then there is a Mandala Brahmana Upanishad that gives a difference between Sushupti and Samadhi. Why we need to practice Samadhi while awake? There is this. I think you need to help me decipher this also. I'll just go through it. Sushupti Samadhyo Manolaya Visheshepi Mahada Bhayor Vedaha Tamasilinatvat Mukti Hotutva Bhavacha Samadhau Vrtihi Tamo Vikara Sadakara Karita Akhandakara Vrityatmika Sakshi Chaitanye Prapanchalaya Sampadyate. Binduji. So, difference between deep sleep and Samadhi, there is a difference where when in Sushupti, the mind resolves into that, causal form or whatever. You can't say that. This is the way of Sushupti, the deep sleep. While in Samadhi, while awake, when mind resolves into that pure awareness or Sakshi Chaitanya, the difference is that, while as you wake up from deep sleep, the world is seen with multiplicity. While in Samadhi, even when you resolve into Samadhi with the understanding of that Akhandakara, Akara of Brahman, then the world doesn't appear as it doesn't give that multiplicity, the Samovikara, Stadakara Karita, Akhandakara, Vrityatmika, Sakshi Chaitanye, Prapanchalaya Sampadyate. Can you decipher this fully?
Yeah. What it says that, what it says that when in the Samadhi, the same Prapanchalaya takes place. This multiplicity dissolves or appears as unified, not with distinctions. That is what is Kadalaya, Prapanchalaya. The same thing is being told in the seventh mantra of Prapanchopashamam. That is the same word. Upashamam. Here they have used the word Laya, Prapanchalaya. So in both the cases, what happens? When the Laya takes place, that Dvaidam na vidyate. The duplicity. So Akhanda Akara. Akhanda means divided. Akhanda means without dividing. Akara means non-dual form. So that is what it is in the Sushupti as well as in Samadhi. But what happens is that in the Sushupti, it is as if gripped by a veil of darkness or ignorance. We are not aware. That is what Chandogya Upanishad also says. Sadi sambadhya na viduhu sadi sambadhya mahe. Having become one with our own existence, the truth, the Satchit Ananda. Sat means Sadi sambadhya means having become one with the Sat, where the multiplicity is removed. Na viduhu sadi sambadhya mahe. We are not knowing that we have attained our true nature of Sat, Satchidananda, that nature. So that is what the Chandogya said. The same thing when in the Mandukya says that, it says Prapanchopashramam, Shandam Shivam Advaitam, Chaturtam Manyande Sa Atma Sa Vitneyaha. So there the word Vitneyaha is a indication that it is a active knowing of Prapanchalaya. Prapanchalaya means where the duplicity is dissolved. When we do not know, we are in sleep. When we know it, why that the whole thing is in me or in everything is in one substratum, they are mere appearances, then we are in samadhi. That samadhi is not the samadhi where we enter into by volition and get out of volition. It is a samadhi which is it is called a Raja Yoga, where we, with the knowledge, remove the potency for the mind to grasp multiplicity as reality. It is not the multiplicity will not be seen, but the reality will be that like the goldsmith can see only gold in the ornaments, whereas the customer will see the multiplicity. The difference between the goldsmith and the customer is that the customer doesn't know that, he is not interested in knowing the fact that they are all gold. Whereas the goldsmith, even though he sees the multiplicity of the different ornaments, in his vision, he is only weighing what is the gold out of which how much it has been made of. For him, the knowledge of gold is more important than the name and form of the ornaments. Same way, from the samadhi point of view, one who has really done the Prapanchalaya or Prapanchopashamam, Shantam Shivam Advaitam, that non-dual experience of lack of multiplicity or dissolving of multiplicity, for him, it is a active state of knowledge, whereas in the case of deep sleep, it is an inactive state of slumber, or what you call where the knowing doesn't take place. That is why we say, I knew nothing. So this is what is the crux of the last line which is being given in this particular mantra also.
Sure, Vinod. I think this is nice. There is a clear indication. I'll just use two variety of samadhis. Then we jump into that comparison between Anubhava and Anubhuti. The Sampragna Samadhi, Sampragnata Samadhi Syat, Dhyanabhyasa Prakarshataha, Prashanta Vrittikam Chittam, Paramananda Deepakam. Here, Sampragna, it doesn't tell whether ego is there or not there. It only gives an experience of, Ananda, where sleep-like state will emerge. That's all is told. In Asampragna, there is a Shruti again from Muktikopanishad. Asampragnata na mayam. Asampragnata na mayam. Samadhi yogina priyaha. Prabhashunyam, manashunyam, buddhishunyam, idatmakam. So, it's a nirvikalpa samadhi. There is no observer, devoid of observer. Everything is shunyam. So, then as soon one wake up from this, nirvikalpa samadhi, again the worldly activities continue. So these were, path these were experienced. Now I will jump into these two comparisons, because samadhi doesn't mean that enlightenment, that is, it is all heading there. Where I struggled, Bindoji, was as going through the path of gnana, where awareness has been, you are aware of yourself. Are you conscious? Those who are the active, questions. Where I put Anubhava, Aparokshanubhuti, the, experience of awareness is in the class of, a reflected awareness, where the intellect or a mind falsely affirming, I'm aware. Is this a fair, description where even a child asked to do in the class, are you present? One says yes. Or a patient, upon waking up, doctor asks the patient, are you aware? The patient says yes. It is the reflected awareness getting accessed to give this answer. Can we put that, I'm putting that under Aparokshanubhuti. Is that a fair classification?
Before I answer you on that, I want you to know two definitions as per the Sanskrit grammar. What is Anubhava? Anu is a suffix.
Okay.
And the verb is bhu. Bhu sataya means bhava. It is in the way in which it is being experienced or created, or all those aspects of realization. I mean, knowing, not the realization, ultimate realization. The word anu is a thing. So what it says is that smriti bhinna jnana. It excludes the memory. Memory doesn't come under anubhava. And it is, what does it say? Anumanadi. Including inference, etc. is part of the anumana. And it is a dharavahika jnana. Dharavahika means it is a unbroken experience of knowing. So we have to understand that anubhava is, from this point of view, is a knowledge level. Now let us look into Anubhuti. What is Anubhuti? Or it says that, or let me say, take Anubhuti. Yeah. It is taken as same. Anu is a suffix. Bhu is the root, and the pratyaya, or the operating parameter, is a word called tin. Whereas in the previous case, the operating parameter is called bhave. So these two are separate in the form of, even though the formation is thing, the factor under which these two words are formed is clear-cut distinction from the point of view of what you call our personalized experience. Here also they say it is Chaturvida, Sa Chaturvida. What is the Anubhuti is Chaturvida. Pratyaksham, Anumiti, Upamiti, Shabda Bodham. That is, Pratyaksham means direct perception. Anumiti is inference. Upamiti is through examples. Shabda Bodham is generated out of sound. Means when we hear sound, a knowledge is created in our inner being or in the Antakarana. That is what is called the Shabda Bodha. It is a Bodha, but it is generated out of sound, and neither the visual or any other sense organ is not playing any role into it except ears for receiving the sound. And here what happens is that The pratyaksham has got importance here. That is why, because Anumiti, Upamiti and Shabdabodham, all of them has got dependency on the pratyaksha. Only when the pratyaksha aspect is included, it can be used for inference, it can be used for examples. Even the sound is a pratyaksha jnana, because you have to hear it directly. And not the sound which we recollect from the mind in the form of memory. That is not included. So we have to correct these two aspects. Whereas that is included not included even in the Anubhava part of it. So these two being the two separate Sanskrit etymologies for these two words, your definition of Anubhava as reflected awareness generated out of a andakarana or the inner instrument is correct. Now proceed.
Okay, Binduji. That helps. This classification helps. Since we use aparoksha before both of them,
Yes.
right? Aparoksha Anubhava, Aparoksha Anubhuti, that will reduce the selection. So
Yes.
in this case, so I'm putting the first classification of Anubhava as, that feeling, or Anubhava is a feeling or a continuous feeling available, falsely perceived as the ultimate,
Mm-hmm.
while it is a reflected onto the mind, which I put it in the classification of Chidabhasa, like a sun reflecting on the water, and you just perceived that reflection as the continuum, which is incorrect. So that is the Anubhava classification. Is that fair for the discussion?
Yes, it's fair.
Okay. Then Aparoksha Anubhuti is that which when one try to examine further, where is this coming from, and gets into that, the pure awareness without boundary, because this is that awareness which earlier accessed by the mind, verbalized by the mind, now try to probe further into the source of it. Where is this reflection coming from? That now gradually expanded into the pure awareness, where even the seeker looking for it now, become irrelevant, because that awareness took over and, expanded. You can call, when someone try to verbalize it, as existence, consciousness, and expansion, which bliss, bliss will not use the word bliss. Ananta means infinitude, the infinitude of that awareness. Nobody need to even verbalize it. You can't even describe it. It's simply just expanded. Aparoksha Anubhuti is about continuum. It's a continuum, like maybe the closest you can say, there is a Tailadhara is the closest, where that expansive awareness is always available as a continuum in the background. Even there is an activity coming and going. Even there is a conversation like this is come and go. That continuum now been established, available all the time without any break. Is that fair? Anubhuti is a continuum, is a way to put it. Is that close enough, Pinduji? That as an Anubhuti?
When you say available, are you bringing a knower of that?
No, there is no need for a knower of it. There's no need for it.
So
There's
the
no
word available is not needed there.
right. You're not there. It's a continuum. Maybe that's the best.
Yes. It is that when all knowing stops, but the expression of knowledge of its own knowledge, not in the sense of our empirical knowledge, the knowledge of existence, awareness, and that non-dual state, that knowledge itself is the self-shining or self-illuminating aspect where there is no separation between the knower and the known. So the Anubhuti is in the dilution or the dissolving of the knower in the knowledge. He has removed the object and the process of knowing during samadhi or through the process of knowledge, jnana samadhi, and then where words do not operate, mind do not operate, he becomes knowledge personified. He cannot call himself as anything else. He doesn't even utter a word. He remains silent because there is nothing to talk about, nothing to, explain it. Because as the Mandukya Upanishad says, agrahya adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam avyapatesham ekatma pratyasaram prapanjopashamam. All those things are descriptions apparent, but not descriptions in the literal form. Because it is only negating. While negating, it is not affirming anything, but at the same time, the negation itself is good enough for the substratum to be exposed. That is why it is called a Anubhuti, where you are not depending upon the second, na dvitiyam asti. There is nothing second to it. Go ahead, Venkat.
That's nice, Madhuji. That yato varcho nivartante aprapyam manasa saha, that also come into the
Yes.
yeah. This the second part. This is where that feeling part, like I amness, being, the presence, blissful, etc. Those are, even though it's these are the feeling continuum, induced feeling due to the source, that feeling get reflected into the mind too. That I am the reason I'm using that I amness. There is that is arising at the heart center. Even a gorilla thumps its chest. That and I invite the other, challenge the other, right? Even if there is a judo competition, or there is then they do gestures, right?
Right.
Come and attack me, right? I amness that amplifies in those situations. Then the occasional non-sensual awareness kicks in for various reasons. Various reasons, when mind get what it wants, occasionally it goes blank. Or when you see a beautiful scenery that all of a sudden you go blank. Thoughtless kicks in at times. Even an aha moment studying Upanishad comes, yet the habitual mind again come back and takes over. That supersedes that non-sensual Anubhava, and that knower-known split, the three-way split, continue to operate in this mode. So that's a habitual mind able to supersede this occasional experience. I'm just putting my own reflection here, Bandhavji. This is one way I just putting that under the Aparokshanubhava, occasional experience of, that aware the mind goes blank and then again habitual mind starts off. While
Okay.
on the contrary, there is a clear recognition of absence of thoughts, clear recognition, and the three-way split, this is eyes open. Basically, this is where I had my struggles. With eyes open, even though the gazing happens, yet there is a complete withdrawal. The world is seen, yet no processing happening, no thoughts happening. So the three-way split with eyes open is available. I don't know how to put it. While the appearances are all around, yet the mind doesn't go into thought process. So this is a contrast that vilakshana sakshi, the witnessing, yet no three-way split. While the mind overrides the occasional experience of I amness or presence, whatnot, the three-way split is eminently overriding and constantly, taking over. These are the two contrasts, Sakshi versus observer part of the three-way split. Still claiming I am aware, I am present, etc. This is a contrast. Put that into two buckets. One is Anubhava and other one which is Anubhuti, yet no three-way split in a Sakshi mode.
Okay. Here, I'll explain. You have got it right, but you did not know how to put it. The nature, whether we like it or not, we are all that pure awareness. You may claim it to be the human being, the individual with the experiential, empirical world being real, etc., etc. All those things are there, but then there are times when, as you rightly said, the aha moments or the moments in the life where we go blank, we have no idea what that blankness or the blank state is. The physical world has no importance at that time. The wonderstruck or the aha moment or the moment where you forget about your own existence. That is our true nature. But when we are not established in the knowledge who we are, that is why jnanena sadrisham pavitramiham vidyate. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. There is nothing which can purify you more than the knowledge of yourself. That is when Krishna said that in the Bhagavad Gita. So, what does it mean? It means that even though we are that, we have experiences of that even in our day-to-day life. Not the mind is getting covered and everything, but we are not able to establish ourselves in that knowledge. Therefore, the mind takes over. The aha moment ends and we are back to square one. As you write, they are all Anubhava means they are all depending on the creation of that moment. It was apparently created during that moment, but it is not everlasting. On the contrary, when you take into the Sakshi Bhava, you are not doing the Sakshi Bhava to affirm that whatever is being observed is real and existent and I am the observer. No. You are saying that the knower, the known and the knowing in each of my three states of awareness of waking, dream and deep sleep, I am aware of that. I am aware of me as a waker knowing the waking world, and I am aware of me as a dreamer knowing the dream and the dream world. I am also aware of the deep sleep of my own existence and the absence of anything else for me to experience. So I am taken now not as part of the waking, not part of the dream, not part of the deep sleep, but separate, vilakshana, without any qualifications of any one of them. There are three in each one of the state, knower, known and the knowing. The waking has got, the dream has got, the deep sleep has got. Tebhyo vilakshana. Tebhyo means apart from all of them. Vilakshana means without any taint or any conditioning of them. Sakshi. That time I am a Sakshi to what? The absence of the three states. I am not observing the three states, but I am the witness to the absence also of the three states in me at any point of time. Therefore, that Sakshi is Vilakshana Sakshi or the witness divide of the three states, and then only I'll become Shivam. I'll become pure. That pure awareness. This is a experience out of knowledge, because you are doing an analysis of your waking, you are doing an analysis of your dream, you are doing an analysis of the deep sleep, and separating out yourself as they are appearances in awareness, and it is me, the awareness in which they are appearing, and I am not those specified awarenesses of the waker, dream or the deep sleep, but in me, when everything is happening, I become the pure awareness. That is a direct experience. It is no more a analysis. It is a result of an analysis culminating in the what you call awareness, which is self-effulgent. Therefore, it is why called it is Sakshi, because it is witnessing its own brilliance or its own what you call glaze. And that doesn't need anything else. Therefore, it becomes a self-witnessing awareness. That is why it is called Sakshi. So the two things is that one is when the knowledge is not there, that is Anubhava, and when there is knowledge which is getting established after the analysis and the removal of the multiplicity and their separate independent existences, there gets a direct knowledge. That is a Aparokshanubhuti.
Thanks, Mataji. I think you expanded that scope of it to all three states, where I was boxing it to the Triputi Rahita, absence of three-way split completely, because not able to even simulate it from
Right.
here. So that's interesting. Now that led to my next level conclusion, I try to now describe the next level, why it is so that Tripudi Rahita, why it is happening. This is, I'm trying to put it in the Anubhava bracket as I exist at the thought level or a feeling level, that I'm using both in combination. I am and I exist as a verbal combination, putting it as a Chit Jada Granthi, the knot. The formation reflected part of Vijnanamaya Kosha. This is my analysis. You confirm this. Is it right or wrong? This knot formation in Vijnanamaya Kosha, because the buddhi is active, leading to this knot held perpetually every time. Now with the, on the contrary, this is what I described is that not held. I exist at a thought level, verbally held every time a thought process kicks in. Part of the Aparokshanubhuti, even though you say I am, even though someone confirms I am at the level confirmation still holding the knot. This I found it also part of the samadhi practices, because that not at all going away, repeatedly appearing as soon getting up from samadhi. So this knot formation, interestingly, as going back to the path of Aparokshanubhuti, that the text traveled by you, the self, that pure Sat, right? I now removed the am part of it just for this purpose, that I pre-verbally leading to that pure, that existence and non-verbal existence, not at all get affected by the, that the moment that existence perceived with eyes open, everything is, existence at summary, because everything, tree exists, chair exists, and the wall exists. That existence at summary seems to knock off the Triputi formation altogether. So even though there is a turbulent world around, or even the turbulence itself is not perceived, because it's all summarized at an existence level by knocking off the am portion. Now you don't need to even combine am again, because that existence is affirming all around with eyes open. While there may be some moment here and there, that moment come and go in this existence. So I'm putting that the pure existence fallback led to that Aparokshanubhuti versus that I am not earlier sitting, avoiding that, expansion. I don't know how did I articulate it right or not? I'm not sure.
See, both of the places you need fine tuning. See, when in the Anubhava part of where you said I exist, the chair exists, the table exists, etc., etc., the knot or the granthi which we are talking about is our incapability to take out the existence without the object. That is a impossibility for us. That is why it is called a knot. Because we can see existences of names and forms in objects and existences, including myself. When I say I exist, I am, there is a ego which is now holding on to that existence. It is not the pure awareness. That existence of the ego is conceived as I exist, not the pure awareness. Same way, when I say chair exists, table exists, and all those things, we can never know the existence without the chair or the table. But we accept that the table is an object and it was either a wood or something else in before. Now it exists in the form of a table or a chair. And the same thing Shankaracharya uses in the 16th verse of 2nd chapter Bhagavad Gita also, when explaining that Nasado vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sada. There also he says the pot, when destroyed, what is destroyed is the name and form. The existence of the pot is not destroyed, because existence is not exclusive for the pot or the name and the form. It uses existence for the name and form to be experienced. That is what is called the knot of the mind, incapable of separating out this aspect of it. It is same thing. We are unable to segregate anything outside the space. Everything exists in such a space or is using space, remaining in space, moving in space. There is no movement for the space, but name and form appear to be moving and the space supposed to be moving. But the space doesn't move. In the space they move. So this aspect of incapability of the mind is what is called Hridaya Granthi, or knot of what you call the Chidjara Granthi. Sarva Grandhinam Vipramokshaha. In the 7th chapter of Chandogya, Narada has been told by Sanat Kumara, once a person knows the reality, he is no more under the knot of the heart or knot of the, inner equipment for the separation of the reality from the name and the form. Only when the knowledge arises in us, we will be able to release the mind or the intellect or the antakarana from this entanglement of existence and the name and form as existence. But when it comes to pure existence or pure Sat, the world is no more separately there. A person who has now identified or known the reality of the space can know without any doubt, without any apprehension or without any misnomer, then the objects are nothing but space having a shape, color, etc., and name and form in the world. The phenomenal world is nothing but that. So this state, a person when he looks at the world, he doesn't see a turbulent world anymore. He doesn't get affected by that because the world is not turbulent for him. The turbulence comes when there are two things. One is getting turbulated, or the other one which is in the substratum where the turbulence takes place. So that of duality is not there in such a person. For him, there is nothing which is perturbing, turbulence, or anything other than that. For such a person, the bliss, what we talk about, is incomparable bliss or incomparable peace, which is not even by the wildest imagination we can think what is that bliss like. Such a person is neither wanting anything from the world nor wanting to give anything to the world, because he doesn't see anything other than himself. So that is why that the culmination, bhumaiva sukham, that bhuma, that the state of that knowledge is the sukham or the pinnacle of happiness, which is being mentioned by Sanat Kumara in the 7th chapter of Chandogya. So you have captured it correctly, but to bring into that Panchakosha Viveka and everything was not required. It is a pure Andakarana which is getting entangled because of the incapability of anchoring in knowledge of the reality. It gets incapable of separating out the truth from the appearance. That is all it is.
Yeah. Binduji, I think this is good pointer. That reducing everything to existence, even though it may not take away that object association to the existence, that's an incapability of the mind. The contrary navigation out of there is, as suggested in Aparokshanubhuti as a Brahmakara vritti. That which the space conscious, the space awareness, the expansion itself will see these objective occurrences sort of come and go, unaffected. The space get unaffected. The vrittis which sort of articulated in the Aparokshanubhuti itself is bring that mind threading the association itself collapses, because that is not required. Because the process that the threading lead to the triputi, because that chitta jada granthi, that I am the observer, observed, and observation, process of observation creates a split due to the association. If the space itself as a expansion made available as a vritti itself becomes space, then step back happens, and that is the establishment. So is a vritti as a segue itself to dissociate the dissociation of that triputi formation. I don't know how to describe it. Just that habitual mind collapses in vritti, the Brahmakara vritti, versus the attention-led association lead to three-way split.
That is what this Anvaya Vyatireka method, which has been mentioned in the Aparokshanubhuti, that is negation and affirmation. First you negate duplicity or multiplicity in the world, arrive at your own nature. And then when you start affirming, looking with that knowledge as who you are, and then you looking at the world, you are not looking the way in which you look now. Because you are looking the world with the actual knowledge or the truth of your own nature. That time will be easy for you to affirm that what I see is not, as name and form, independent of awareness, and that awareness in which they are all depending upon is the same awareness with which I am also experiencing myself, or I am knowing myself. So that knowledge of affirmation of the same becomes the Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. That becomes the method in which it you have to do. So this Anvaya Vyatireka method is the only way in which you can do this, when breaking of the knot, which is mentioned now. That is, yeah, go ahead.
I think you put it really well, Piduji. Thanks for this, actually. Because this is a critical test. Because the Chit Jala Granthi is not sitting inside the mind.
No.
It's it is everywhere. So,
yes.
with eyes open, it is already in action by doing the existence association already.
Yeah, because we think the mind is within us, inside us. Actually, the mind is no locus standi, locus where you can say it is. Mind is everywhere.
Got it, Bindu. That's what is playing out here. So that's a big, I think hopefully this is a big takeaway. So this is good. I'm probing you more now. I'm going to skip the next, that samadhi part of it. We covered it through the verses. This broader, the vritti. Now, since we talked about the vritti, that Anvaya Vyatireka is really a vritti, eventually playing out. This habitual play out is usual. Habitual play out of the mind is I'm so and so, I'm body, mind, intellect, role play in the world as the processing works that way. It is conditioned to process that way. Occasional in affirmation of I am this, I am that, that I am association, then scriptural, that negation helping you to get to the nididhyasana. Then you have to use that Anvaya Vyatireka. But what happened to me? I'm just giving this shifting from object consciousness during that negation, from an object consciousness, object awareness, such as even including the body, from a I am so and so role to I am body. That neti shifted the object awareness to subject awareness, which is, it's just a locus shift from objective awareness to subject awareness during neti. All it did was moved me from, srushti, drushti to srushti. It just inverted that domain, yet it kept the observer alive. The not alive, that played out even in the samadhi practices. The gnanam, able to put forth that observer, the three-way split itself is seen in the broader expanded awareness. Now that you've moved into this, you moved me out from even eyes open. A great segue you provided. From inside now, look out with the knowledge who you really are. That broader awareness led to that object association taken out. This now can we characterize you? You already gave this verse that Nanta pragnaha na bahi pragnaha. Can you explain this verse? This awareness, which is inner awareness, outer awareness, not inner awareness, not outer awareness. This awareness seems like all pervasive. You can't put it in one box. Can you explain this verse, Bindoji? That na anta pragna, na brahi pragna. Maybe that's my final ask.
Okay. I have done this during the Mandukya
Yes,
class
Bindoji.
anyway. Okay, anyway,
Because I was not,
for the benefit of
I'm not, I'm just asking here now.
Right,
Because,
no problem. I'll explain it again. See, na andapratnyam. Andapratnyam means here we are talking about the awareness or the knowledge or the, what you call, consciousness. I'm not talking about information, knowledge about any of those aspects of it. It is the fundamental aspect of knowing related to inner instrument of knowing. That is andakarana. That is why it is called na andapratnya. It is not exclusively of the inner thing. Inner means, let me tell you, we are aware of our emotions, feelings and thoughts. We are aware of our dreams and the dream world and everything. These, and even during waking when we are doing daydreaming and all of them fall under the category of andapratnya. There is a consciousness which is not operating external to our sense organs or external to our being, the physical being. Okay. That is Nanda Prajna. Now Bahi Prajna. So now the outside one. Outside one is everything other than the inside one is included in the outer one. That is from the waking world. And even the waker knowing the dreamer, knowing the deep sleep by the waker is also the Bahi Prajna. That aspects of, when I'm saying, I'm not talking about the contents of knowing, I'm talking about the consciousness of the awareness of those in which these things are appearing. Now, Ubhayada Prajna. Now, there is a transition period when we are aware of both waking world and the imaginary world or the internal world. Daydreaming or imagining things like that. All those things. So, even that is removed. So, all the three categories, the subtle category, the gross category, and the hallucinating category. And then comes na prajnana ghanam. Now prajnana ghanam is consciousness or awareness as a mass where I know nothing. That is in the deep sleep. In the deep sleep we are not knowing anything, but we are aware of our existence and we are aware of knowing nothingness. The knowing nothingness is also happening in a consciousness or awareness. Therefore, even that is not there. So when we did that, all the four categories within. Now, the fifth one is important. Na prajnam. All these things, Nanda prajnam, Bahit prajnam, Ubhayada prajnam, Prajnanaganam, is related to our experiences as human beings, as the waker, dreamer and the deep sleeper. That which knows the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper, which we described as the Sakshi, there is an awareness where that awareness is aware of the waker, dream and deep sleeper. That one is called the prajnam. So that prajnam, even that is not what I am. Na aprajnam, nor the absence of that. Then that, the question will naturally shoot out that is it void, nihilism, or what you call shunyata. To avoid that is the word na aprajnam. It is not the absence of prajna, this thing, what is that? the Sakshi who knows the 9 aspects of the 3 states. If that is not there, then what is it? To describe it is difficult. So he is now using the word, the Rishi from the Upanishad is using the word Adrishtam, means it is not perceivable. Here Drishtam is standing for all sensory inputs. So it is not possible through any sensation to know that consciousness or awareness. Avyavaharyam. It is not possible to transact with it, means there is no knowing taking place. Vyavahara means transaction or empirical aspect of it. So we will think that, okay, I cannot sense it or know it by my sense organs, but is it not that with which I am transacting in my waking dream and deep sleep? The Rishi is negating that, saying avyavaharyam. It is not even the knowing aspect of it. Not only knowing, agrahyam also. It cannot be known also. It is neither usable as a consciousness or awareness or knowledge for transaction, nor can that be known as an object. That is why agrahyam. Then he says alakshanam. There is no description with which you can describe it. No lakshanam. That is alakshanam. Lakshanam means definitive methods in which you can pinpoint to it. That is not possible. Therefore, achintyam. It is not a subject matter of the andakarana. Chintyam means to think about it or imagine about it. Achintyam means it is not even imaginable or thinkable about it as something. Avyavadesham. Vyavadesham means to comment upon it. You cannot even comment on that. I knew that Vedahamedam Purusham Mahandam Adityavarnam Tamasa Parastat. That is a way of commenting about that knowledge. Vedaha Vedam. I knew that the knowledge of all knowledge. Vedaha Vedam. Tamasa Parastat. It is beyond the darkness, that light. Beyond the light of the sun. All those explanations is a way of commentary or the way in which you notation that. So he is saying that avyavadesham means you cannot even bring in any sort of thing for that. It is not possible for us to comment upon it. Ekatma pratyaya saram. Saram means essence. Atma saram means the essence of the self. And what type of Atma? Ekatma. Because there is only one self. There is no myself, yourself, they self, themselves. Many selves we are familiar with. He is negating that. There is no many. Ekatma. There is only one self. And the saram, the essence of that, that is where the beauty lies. That it is, we may immediately think that I am. That when I say aham brahmasmi, that there is an aham there, no? Ekatma. Brahmasmi, when they are saying that, the mind can imagine anything. So the tendency for the mind will be to immediately say that, oh, that Atma which I am now experiencing as I am, that is the one which he is negating, that Ekatma Pratyasaram. That Eka Atma is the Atma of everything. There is no separate Atma for the objects. no separate Atma for the subject, no separate Atma of the all is the knowledge which is connecting them. Nothing like that. There is only one essence. Prapanchopashamam. This we said that when the prapancha means that what is empirical in nature, phenomenal in nature. Upashamam means when it is inseparable. For example, when you say that I pour a glass of seawater into the sea, I cannot separate it out. So the separation which was there as a glass of seawater, when poured into the sea, there is no separation available. That is what is called the upashama. Where the separation or the distinction which we were holding right now as individuals separate and the world separate, that world is no more separate from you. That also is merged in the Ekatma Pratyasaram. The Prapanchopashamam and the Ekatma Pratyasaram are one and the same. That can, Prapancha Upashamam or the dissolving of the world of multiplicity can happen only when we know the essence of my own nature. That is the Ekatma Pratyasara. Yet, he is trying to comment upon what it is. Chandam, Shivam, Advaitam. He is using 3 words. Chandam means there is no turbulence. There is no agitation. There is no, what you call, turbulence in the air or in the space. Shivam means pure. That purity is unimaginable because we have never seen anything pure until now. Even the 100% gold is not 100%. It is only 99.999. Water, 100%? No. Nothing is 100% pure in our experience. There is only one which is pure. That is the Ekatma Pratyasara. That is that essence of my nature, true nature. Advaitam, because there is no two to it. Even though the word Ekatma Pratyasaram, there the Eka word is used one, here to make it cemented as affirmation, the word Advaitam is used. Then he says that Chaturtam Manyante Vivekinaha. The people who knew that, they call it as Chaturtam or Turiyam. Why Turiyam? When we are talking about there is no two, Eka, Advaitam, how can it be Chaturtam? For that, we have to understand that we know only the 3, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. All our consciousness, knowing, knowledge or awareness is related to our 3 experiences. Therefore, it is 4th one. And it is 4th, not separate from the 3. Shankaracharya, when he makes the comment, he says that it is not like the 4 legs of a cow, each one separate by itself. It is like the quarter in one. You cannot say which quarter is what. The 4th quarter is not separate from the first 3 quarters. Even though we may say that the 4th quarter is independent of the first 3. But when the 4th quarter is known, then the quarters of 1, 2 and 3 do not independently stand. They become one. Whether it's a dollar or whatever may be the rupee or whatever may be this thing, or the, disc of 4 quarters. When you join it, you get a disc, one disc. Otherwise you get 4 quarters. The 4 quarters disappear to become one. That is why it is called the manyante. It is assumed as the fourth to make the three into full one. Only when the fourth is known, the three independent quarter becomes one full. Sa Atma. That is the Atma. And Sa Vitneyaha. Vitneyaha, the word Vitneya has got a action inherent in it. Vitneya means to be known. If it is to be known, I have to be separate from that. But the first word is the Sa Atma. That is your Atma. Atma means awareness. It is not something which is separate from you. You are the Atma. You are the self-awareness, the self-illumining awareness. That as the self-illumining awareness, when you know it, then the fourth quarter becomes full to make you Ekatma Pratyasara, the one and the full individual who is Vivekinaha, the one who knows the reality. Very pregnant mantra from Mandukya, and it is there quoted in other Upanishads also for as quotations from Mandukya. But the original mantra is from the Mandukya Upanishad. One who meditates upon this, does the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, for him, the Ekatma Pratyasaram is attainable. That is why Savitneyaha is the word, the last word is used. Attainable means knowable. As what? Not separate from you, but as your full nature, which is the nature of the everything, Prapanchopashamam. And then the fourth quarter is that knowledge which makes you full, complete, Purnamada Purnamidam. Therefore, you cannot take that from the completeness anything out. It was an ignorance or a feeling or misapprehension that made us feel that the world is separate from us. I am separate from the world. There is no separation at all. The word separation has no, validity in reality. Only in that apparent reality, the word separation has any transactional reality. In the absolute, the sub-word separation has no place. That is why you reach the Purnata. That completeness where the world merges in you, or you become one with the world, and then you become the Purna, the completeness of that. And nothing can be taken out of you, nothing can be added to you, because you are the infinite. You are the complete. The space, the time, the objects, everything appeared from you. When you woke up, the waking world came. When you went to dream, the dream world came. When you went into deep sleep, they all merged back. But not knowing in the deep sleep who you are, you have to become the fourth one. That is when the Chaturtham has the main importance there. That is where Savitneyaha. That is your Atma. Om.
I think it's Vinodji saying that this is like icing on the cake today. It navigated it so profoundly for us. Thanks for doing this. I distinctly remember in the beginning of the Mandukya Karika, the Shankara Bhashya, the something he said was that Shankara's guarantee for going through this Upanishad was dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. And as we culminated with this verse, that ekatma pratyasaram, prapanchopashamam means that, the duality get dissolved right there. There's no separation right there. Then obviously that dukkha nivritti is imminent. Shantam means that sukha, that paramasukha. Shivam, that pure. Satma Savigneya. This is how it has to be known. I think you sort of nicely navigated into this. Maybe it's worth going through this one more time. The way you threaded this is beautifully threaded to that point. Thanks for today, Binduji. This is sort of, I wanted to sort of culminate that samadhi practice. And what was the finding I had was maybe my samskaras are different. Maybe my the need for that hatha yoga was, I think, as Shankara in Aparokshanubhuti said, one has strong identification, may have to go through hatha yoga. That's the case, but that gnana is the only way to shift out. This is a realization. Thanks for navigating through this so profoundly. Thanks, Binduji.
Thank you, Venkat. Thank you for your beautiful analysis and the PDF what you sent me, which I shared in the chat above, in the pinned above, based on which we had the discussion today. And there are some announcements to be made about tomorrow and the weeks that are going to happen after that. Prakash, would you want to take over and explain that?
Sure, Binduji. Yeah. Again, first of all, thank you for the deep dive into the explanatory power of the four quarters. It was so profound again. I mean, every time you listen to it, there's a clarity that rings through how one can start to deconstruct this and understand, and not just understand, realize. So thank you very much, Binduji and Venkatji for bringing forth this deep discussion. Thank you very much. And for the members in the audience, thank you for participating. And as Binduji mentioned, starting this Sunday at 8:30 p.m. IST, we're going to go into a deep dive into Bhagavad Gita. And Binduji is going to conduct sessions on all weekdays, Monday to Friday, 8:30 p.m. IST. But the Sunday room is an inaugural talk, and I've pasted the link for the room and the title of the room, which is From Battlefield Battlefield History to Inner Battlefield. And that's an inaugural talk offered by a person Binduji and I know from the community. And following that, we'll start from Monday on. Binduji is going to give us a deep, guide to Bhagavad Gita. I hope you will all join us in that journey. Is there anything else, Binduji? Any other points you want to add?
No, thank you. That's all. So tomorrow is the Sunday where the inaugural talk is going to be there at the same time. Not tomorrow, day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day after tomorrow. And tomorrow is an off day. And as Prakash said, I'm keeping every day because there are 700 verses to be completed. But even though 700, the first chapter, there is not much to be discussed except the preface written by Shankaracharya for the Bhagavad Gita, which is very important. So that will be the one which I'll be starting with, and then we will glance at the verses of the first chapter to understand the background on which the whole scenario takes place. And thereafter we will get into the details of each of those verses and discussions. Format will be the same. 8:30 to 9:30 the verses will be discussed. 9:30 to 10 will be the Q&A. And Sunday we will have open discussions after the following Sunday, not the coming Sunday, that is day after tomorrow, but after that Sunday we will continue to have our open session for questions. So that will be the format. So we all meet on Sunday the same time. Thank you all for being there. I'll be posting this also onto the YouTube as a last episode of Aparokshanubhuti, so that those members who could not join can listen to that. Thank you, Venkat. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, everyone who have listened with patience the discussion between Venkat and myself. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night, Venkat.
Good night.
Hari Om.